The Texas flash floods, man. I've over the weekend, it's been like I've just been seeing stories. It's not really been covered that much here, but the death toll is now like 70 or something. This is really, really serious. Like what happened? Like how did this happen? Was it intense rainfall and did a barrier break? Like what caused, these floods to happen? Because it looks like some kind of dam broke or something.
This is where little girls should be making memories on the 4th of July, not where police dogs search for their bodies in a flash flood no one saw coming.
Crazy.
The Guadalupe River didn't rise, it ripped lives apart.
We got chainsaws, all shapes and sizes, varieties, shovels, some recovery tools.
Volunteers joined hundreds of state, local, and federal crews, combing miles of devastation.
I'll be honest, if I had a loved one missing, these are the kind of people I would want searching for them. Very well prepared, very well organized.
Man, 4th of July is meant to be a weekend of celebration, man. You know,
And just willing to do whatever needs to be done.
The missing could be anywhere, in the treetops, in the brush, or buried beneath what the river's left behind. A drone can show you the damage, but only down here can you hear what the water took.
Oh my God, look at that car.
I was sleeping in there when it happened.
So how are you here?
That's a good question.
But it's hard to celebrate survival when death is still in the water.
What's even more tragic, as I'm talking to Christian about how he was able to survive the flash flood, a body was found floating in the river.
The
Oh
headlines
my
can't keep
God.
up with the death toll, and neither can we. From July 4th to 5th, it kept going, from Hunt to Kerrville to Georgetown and Burnett.
It scared the hell out of me. And so
Poor lady.
I
Poor
can't
lady.
believe this happened.
All the belongings, man, they're just ruined. Like the water damage.
And there was no warnings.
This was supposed to be a holiday weekend in the Texas Hill Country. Instead, we've watched families lose everything. And now the search for the missing is what matters. This is what's really happening out here.
This has got to be just the service you don't want to, but you feel you have to.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for anybody that can relate to this feeling, this is a terrible deal. So whatever we can do to help.
Over 850
It's brilliant. Like the community comes together, in moments like this. You just wish that moments like this didn't really happen,
people have been rescued, but 48 hours later, the hope of finding more alive is fading. This is Camp Mystic, a beloved girls' summer camp tucked into the Texas Hill Country. Early July 4th, as floodwaters surged through the Guadalupe, at least 24 campers were swept away, while counselors scrambled to save the rest. Search teams now stretch from just outside of Hunt to Kerrville on foot, on horseback, and by helicopter. Volunteers, law enforcement, and locals are scouring the valley mile by mile. In and around Hunt, the damage is some of the worst. Homes ripped from their foundations. But in the center of town, one old building stood firm, and it saved the life of its young owner.
And I woke up around 3 a.m. to the storm, to super loud thunder. And originally I thought someone broke into the house because I didn't even know it was
Oh my God. Did the flooding do this? Mate, this looks like a tornado hit it.
supposed to be raining, let alone a flood coming. So I swing my feet over the bed, and my feet hit the floor. I'm like, that's water. I walked in here from that door right there, and there used to be a wooden deck right there, but through that door. And I looked to my left, and I saw that was just ripped up, and the water was just flooding in from there.
So at that point, how high was the water when you first got up?
It was about like a little bit higher than my ankle.
So at that point, that's scary, but it's not.
I was like still confused, like what's going on.
So then you open the door and a flood of water just rushes in.
Yeah, I was trying to close it. I don't know why, but I started walking back this way, and by that time there was furniture in the way right here that I was having to climb over.
And I'm looking here in your kitchen. The water definitely.
Yeah, so the water must have got really high because it looks like it's, the dirt in the water is what's caused this, or how did this dirt get on the ceiling?
Yeah, it got up to the ceiling. This
Wow.
is where I was sleeping. Oh, came back in here. And then that wooden box credenza thing was sitting, or was in this room. And I had the air mattress in here, so I threw all my stuff on the air mattress. And I was trying to get on the air mattress, but at this point it was like above my head. I had to think of how to get out of here. I tried opening the door wouldn't open. And I noticed the window was broken, so I swam through the window.
Not climbed, you swam.
Yeah, the water
Swam through the window.
was high enough to where I was like standing like this against the window, and I could pick myself up. I picked up my feet and I went through the feet first. Climbed
That's
onto the
crazy.
meter box, and I was standing up here for like 3 hours, and the water was up to my knees at that point while I was standing up there.
So you couldn't quite get up onto the roof?
No, I tried. I mean, you can see where I tried to pull on the gutter and the gutter bent. I couldn't get up there, so I was standing here until the water finally started going down, which was like 3 hours later.
As far as
Crazy.
warnings, Christians said the
Look at all this, like, how are you going to get all of this out, man? Like, there's just so much damage.
first emergency alert came long after it was too late.
There wasn't any sort of warning about the flood until it was already happening. Like I was standing up there and I got a severe flood warning on my phone when I was holding on there. So I was like, no shit, really.
Across the region, I kept hearing the same thing. People waking up to water with no warning. This was Burnett, Texas, July 5th. Another rain bomb, another watershed overwhelmed overnight.
What seems to tie all of these floods together is that they happened at night, and everyone says they didn't know they were coming. There were no warnings. When Hamilton Creek left its banks, for instance, and rushed towards these homes, folks say there were no emergency responders banging on their doors. There were no alerts coming across their phones. They just heard water, and then they stepped in it, and by that point, it was too late.
Looked towards the door, and I mean, the water was way up there, already coming in, and just in an instant. I called my neighbor and I said, water, I said, I'm getting flooded, Mike. Are you getting water? He said, yes. He said, oh my God.
Cat jumped on my chest and she says, do you know there's water? I said, yeah, it's raining. So I was laying on the couch and I got out, and as soon as I put my feet down, I said, whoa. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
Must have been shocking, like, you know, in your own house, like, and you're not in the bath, you put your foot down and it's just sinking into a bunch of water. You'd be thinking, what the hell is going on?
it was way up there. I mean, it was, and then it kept getting higher, and I heard some popping going on. I said, oh shoot, the electricity. So I just opened the window and busted the screen out and jumped out. So
And how deep the water was, I guess,
yeah,
way steep,
yeah,
steep?
it's right, it's right here.
Wow.
That was to be like
Yes,
terrifying.
and I had to go real slow because I mean it was slick, and then the currents, I mean, they were just.
Fortunately, the woman who lived in this apartment was not home when this flash flood happened. You can imagine what might have happened if she was. There is one concern, though, that this flood, combined with every other flood, might be forgotten. But there are communities like this throughout Texas, and they need help. Everything that were inside these apartments, all the clothes, the furniture, electronics, are ruined. They're a loss. And in many cases, so are people's cars. The water was up to the dash.
Everything. I mean, all of this is mud. All of this is freaking mud.
Different towns, different rivers, same nightmare. The alerts came too late
Whoa, did the road get trashed? Did the water do this as well?
or not at all.
Well, I'm just
What the
worried
hell?
that you guys might get lost in the shuffle.
Any Texans watching this, how are you guys doing? Like, are you doing all right? Like, I really hope that, you know, you guys are okay. You didn't lose anyone. You know, your properties are still there. Damage was kept to a minimum. Let me know how you guys are doing.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
that
Yes.
might happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I told him, don't worry about it.
That's a high possibility, yeah.
You stay with us.
It's going to come down to neighbors
You'll be
helping
fine.
neighbors,
Yes.
friends helping
Because
friends.
I mean, they're still waiting. I was sitting over there waiting on the Red Cross, and they still haven't showed up. So I mean, this.
Mike at least was able to save his cat, but nothing else. Since 1913, according to the National Weather Service, 20 tropical cyclones or their remnants have dumped at least 15 inches of rain across inland Texas. This weekend was no different. One of the catalysts, Tropical Storm Barry. Its remnants helped fuel this entire disaster.
Jeez,
How a
look at
catastrophe
this.
like this happens is actually pretty easy to explain. It's because, quite frankly, the Guadalupe River Valley is one of the deadliest river valleys in the entire country. And here's why. The Guadalupe River itself comes from underground springs. So the force of the water typically isn't too strong. That's why you see here closer to the head springs, right across from Camp Mystic and Hunt, Texas, it's very narrow, very shallow. Further downstream around Kerrville, it gets deeper because of years of erosion. But typically, this is what you see. But the entirety of the hill country here sits on a limestone bedrock. So this limestone is very hard, very porous, and it doesn't absorb water like a sponge. Instead, it just passes water through. That's why this entire area is so prone and susceptible to flash flooding. Then you add in the worst case scenario. You have about a foot of rain falling right over the two forks of the Guadalupe River, and that water rushes and rises so quickly that people just didn't have enough time to respond. And that's how campers were literally washed away out of their bunks. Over 50 people, including children, are dead, dozens more missing, and the search continues now 24/7 as a dog with officers just alerted that there might be something in this clump of trees right in front of Camp.
Man, oh man, I can't believe the death toll is that high, man. Like, I think it was over 70 now, like as of right now. It's just insane. Like 4th of July, I thought people would be, celebrating hot dogs, fireworks, beer, but especially in Texas, which is such a, patriotic state, to know that people are dealing with this, looking for loved ones, finding remains and stuff, that's insane. Like, obviously this happening at any time of the year is horrible, but for it to happen, on America's birthday. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.